So we're back with our final game of day one of the RugbySpy Ibiza 10s, and it's our first women's fixture of the weekend. The Irish Rugby Institute taking on the Sinners. And it will be the Irish Rugby Institute with the kick-off playing in their luminous bright shirts from right to left. The Sinners in the blue and red strip, already looking to come down the outside channels, but brushed into the touch.
Bit of pace there though, already evident on the left wing.
Good to see so early on in this game, intent from these women's sides. Line out not as accurate, so the Sinners trying to break away. Pass rolling forward.
Yeah, again, the attempt to get the pass in when you're off balance. Hold on to it.
Well, there's perhaps been a theme of the evening, hasn't it, John? Just a pass quality not quite up to where we'd like. We saw the Sinners scrum half at the last set piece, charging round. So the Irish Rugby Institute will need to be fleet of foot here. Much better this time though. The Sinners scrum half still getting there.
Good counter-rucking again from the Sinners. Irish Rugby Institute going backwards at the moment. Now they're on the front foot. Can they get the pass to hand? Yes, they can. That's a good one. Two beautiful offloads, and that's put away now. Was that a high tackle?
Well, it was a fierce challenge, wasn't it, John?
And the referee gives it as a high tackle, gives the penalty to the Irish Rugby Institute. In comes the tackle, but they're only now 3 or 4 meters short. Yeah, held out though, well done. This time they get it wide. Can they keep putting it wide? The dummy has done enough. Yep, that's created the space. Over they go for the second try.
Well, the Irish Rugby Institute scrum half there, really surging the tempo. Conversion unfortunately not good.
A healthy 10-point lead though. There's the little dummy, and from that moment nobody was going to stop her. In fact, she made rather hard work of it by just not committing and going over. Second try for her.
And a good start to the game by the Irish Rugby Institute. Certainly when they've got the ball out wide, they've looked promising and seemingly struggling against this strong counter-rucking of the Sinners. Just awaiting.
They've lost a ball at the moment.
Yeah.
There it comes. Somebody's actually, and as always happens in these situations, somebody's just actually got it back from behind the post. Another one arrives from the sideline, and we then have 2 balls on the pitch.
London bus scenario, isn't it?
Which holds things up even further.
Again, not quite the right sort of kick from the restart. The referee bringing it back as it didn't go 10, so the Sinners in a replica situation that we'd seen 5 minutes or so ago. An opportunity for them to try and surmount their first attack. Referee says play on.
Very much play on. I don't know what the Sinners forward thought she'd done wrong. Oh, and they called a high tackle there.
Not quite sure what's happened there, but it's the scrum half still going for the Irish Rugby Institute.
Well, they weren't back 10 then for the taking of the penalty, so he orders it to be retaken again.
Coming down the near touchline. big hit by the Sinners. And the Irish Rugby Institute smashed into this near touchline. So our final game of this evening under the floodlights here in San Jose.
Timing a bit awry there at the line out. They got away with it. Oh, but good mauling, and that's going to be a maul taken in by the Sinners. I don't think they're going to get that down, so it should be a scrum to the Irish Rugby Institute.
Intelligent play there by the Irish. Although, looks as if the referees brought that one back for earlier infringement, so...
No, that's it. Yep, he's called the scrum. I think it's the girls who actually didn't realise what he was calling.
And I think the heat's getting to everybody down on the pitch, John. Too much sunbathing on the beach this afternoon. Great shot of the scrum directly underneath us here. Irish scrum half doing well to get that one away. Switch around the back. Number 8 stepping inside, head straight into traffic. Looking to move that one wide. A hint of a forward pass. Still in the hands of the Sinners. Taken into touch, and he's going to bring it back. So scrum to the Sinners inside their own half. 15 metres in from the far touchline. The first half of this opening game of the women's tournament this weekend, the Irish Rugby Institute leading 10-0 against the Sinners. And despite the scoreline, John, these sides a good match so far. The Sinners with a better breakdown, although as we can see they're not quite the same handling skills.
No, that's their problem. It is their passing skills are poor. Look, that again going to absolutely nobody. She wasn't expecting it. That was probably a little bit too much power on it, which again sort of made the receiver check her stride. Tries to get the one back away. Well, option scrum or line out, says the referee. Knock forward, and they're taking the scrum. Probably haven't had a lot of chance to work on their line out drills, so figure there's a little less to go wrong in the scrum. Let's see whether they're right. Their drive came on at just the right moment, made it awkward, but they got the ball away, so the decision was justified. Little knock forward by the Irish Rugby Institute, so they're playing advantage from a knock on at the moment. She got the pace to go all the way around the outside. Gets the pass away inside, that's better. Good pace here now. This could be. Oh, brought down just 5 meters short. Gets the pass away in the tackle though. Good stuff. Can she get over? Not quite. Recycle it. Go once more, girls. That's the longest they've had the ball in possession, but then at the vital moment, that knock on in front of her face, and no more time. They've run out of time at the end of the first half. A terrific series of phases from the Sinners, but they couldn't turn it into a score. And at half time, it's the Irish Rugby Institute 10, Sinners 0.
Well, the Sinners at the end there, throughout that first half, passing to shadows almost, and it was almost when they were on the deck trying to get the offload away that they found their passing skills. This was the opening score, the first of 2 tries for the Irish Rugby Institute's number 2. Storming down this near touchline. And this was her second try. As you said, John, made hard work of it at the end. Just cutting back in, trying to find the space.
She's got good strength and managed to turn it into the score. That's what they needed. 10-0 they lead. And darkness now beginning to fall on Saint-Joseph, but Saint-Joseph a lot darker, I can tell you, out there than is showing up on your television screens. The camera's doing a great job at making it appear daylight still, but it's really gone pretty dark.
Well, you can just see between those highlights the first try and the end of the first half. The difference in darkness was quite something. Shadows of these hills around us really beginning to set in. So only 10 minutes left of action to conclude the first evening of the RugbySpy Ibiza 10s 2018. Change of ends for the Irish Rugby Institute and the Sinners. And the Irish will look to try and press on from their 10-point lead at the break. And I think some of the Scottish Tigers ladies have jumped in to fill in some space amongst this Sinners side, or perhaps just get their boots dirty on their first evening of competition.
Well, they're playing advantage at the moment, and will keep going. That was a knock on by the Irish, but I have to tell you, it is very, very dim out there compared to what you can see on your screens. If they had that sort of light, they'd be loving it.
Well, it's getting a little bit dark here in our commentary spot as well. Another scrum to the Irish. We saw in the first half how the Sinners scrum half was reacting rapidly as soon as the ball was out the back of the scrum. So pressure on for the Irish number 9. Managing to get that one away.
Bit of a balloon pass, but the kick pretty effective. Oh, and just picked up. Fell beautifully for the following up player. Good. Yep, gets that one down. Try number 3 for the Irish.
Well, she's wearing number 11, but the Irish Rugby Institute scrum half seemingly at the heart of everything. Getting her first try of this game. conversion, well, it would be a good football free kick, but perhaps not quite for a conversion. Take a look at this one again. Quick tap penalty from 5 metres out, and like all good scrum halves, reacting well, crashing over the line. Still plenty of time left on the clock for the Sinners. Well taken from the restart. Opportunity for the Sinners to find some space. Look to come down the short side, but run straight back into traffic. Opting to go around the fringes, now inside the Irish half.
Good power there, driving it up. And at last, a clean break. Now she's going to go herself. She certainly is. That's a try, an emphatic try, and a great celebration from the Sinners. Not only their first score, but does, as you were saying, Scott, bring them back into the game, because the 15-0 scoreline goes to 15-5, and there's plenty of time for 10 points.
And successful conversion as well, so closing the gap even further. They'll need more than a converted try to win it, but putting the pressure on.
Yeah, it's still 2 more scores.
A lovely change of direction there going through the midfield. Winding run and getting the Sinners in for their first score of the game. Double try scorer for the Irish, taking it into contact. Looking to put it through the hands, but a big hit comes in from the Sinners.
No follow-up counter-ruck though, so the Irish get away with it.
Well, it looked as if the counter-ruck was on, but the Irish now coming down this near touchline. It's 2-on-1, just need to put it through the hands and go into the corner. That's what they've done. Using the space wisely, using their pace.
And that's the try, I think, that seals the game. That certainly makes it 20 points to 7. They now need 3 scores, barring miracles, if they went in under the posts. Both times they could bring it back, but it's not going to happen like that. So that's a really important try for the Irish.
The Irish showing signs of their initial phases in the first half with that score. Working through the middle, moving the ball out wide. The Sinners letting the ball bounce. Penalty. Opportunity for them to put some pace on the ball now. Trying to go through the middle. Pass gone to ground. So it's back in the hands of a green shirt. The Irish, number 12, going on her own, trying to go for the corner. And a simple score in the end.
Yep, good break. Good powerful running, and if there were any slight hopes still being retained by the Sinners, they've now been dashed. That's it, game over.
Well, she looked a little bit hurt diving over for that one. Tackle coming in. And she was touching it down by a Sinners shirt. Well, we're coming back here for an infringement. A scrum 5 metres out.
Well, the only thing I can think that can have happened there is she didn't actually get the ball down properly. but she dropped it in the act of touching down. She was clear. We didn't actually see that right at the end, but 5 metre scrum they're put in has to be a knock on over the line, so she must have just dropped the ball on the touchdown.
Well, a strange turn of events there, but the Irish putting some pressure on Sinners, who are trying to work their way out of their own dead ball area.
Yep, forced to touch it down in their in-goal area, so it's a 5 metre scrum, and it'll be the Irish putting the ball in.
So we take a look at this again.
She did indeed. She dropped the ball. It was not a clean touchdown. And after all that hard work, what a pity.
Well, I think the referee consulted with his man on the line. Looked as if that had gone forward, but the Irish still working their way towards all. Great counter-rucking once again by the Sinners. Penalty, though, coming to the Irish Rugby Institute. The scrum half trying to take the quick tap. Brought back.
Yeah, referee saying she was offside as she went in to get that turnover.
Looking to move it wide. They've got numbers over half the Irish side in front of the attacker, but at a canter, the nail in the coffin, and that is her hat-trick. So a great game, a great 3 scores for the Irish Rugby Institute's number 2. And I thought she was going to get her own conversion or convert her 3rd try of the game, but her first 2 attempts weren't quite as good as that one. But
not quite, but it was a good effort.
Exceptional effort from the far touch. The Sinners just letting that one bounce. Marching upfield. Looking for some support, but the ball's fumbled.
It went backwards.
Sinners trying to go out wide.
4 onto 1, but not in attack, in defence.
The referee bringing it back for a knock-on. So once again, the Irish Rugby Institute with the ball at the scrum.
Yeah, you have to say the Sinners, actually their basic skills have let them down a little bit in this game, and they've given up the ball far too easily. Would have been in the contest otherwise, because physically they seem able to match the Irish girls.
Certainly been a great battle from them at the breakdown, but in open play, skill's not quite there. The scrum half, though, taking the quick tap, trying to go once again. Less than 10 metres out, needing some support. Hat-trick scorer comes in. Trying to move it away now, looking for a hole in midfield.
Surely they must score now. They do indeed. Just about almost forgot to put it down again, but held on to their passes at the vital time, and none of them went astray there, and they get over again. So it's turning into a little bit of a rout.
Well, it's great timing from the Irish number 8, who, rather than just aimlessly throwing the pass away, stepped back in and then got the offload away in contact. I couldn't quite tell whether or not the try scorer there perhaps wasn't quite sure which line was the try scorer. An excellent conversion there in off the upright. And that, John, concludes our final game of the opening evening.
Yep, that's the first we've seen of the women. There's the final score. Confirmation, the Irish Rugby Institute beat the Sinners 32 points to 7. So they're off to a flying start.
It's been a good opening 3 games of action. And we start tomorrow at 10 o'clock Spanish time, so if you're back home in the UK, tune in from 9 AM. We'll have the Merlins taking on Renegade Rugby in our opening fixture of day 2.
Yes, and tomorrow we get our first glimpse of the men's elite, the blue ribbon competition of this tournament.
Just taking a look at some of the highlights from the second half, and the sole score for the Sinners, a 50-metre breakaway. Those pictures looking significantly brighter than how I remember it anyway. The Irish Rugby Institute using the width wide in the final quarter. Number 12 here going on her own, but we thought she'd got that one down. She'd actually dropped it in the act of scoring, so it was a scrum to the Sinners and resulting in a hat-trick for their number 2, the Irish Rugby Institute's hat-trick hero in that fixture. And the final score at the end of the game. So we'll be back tomorrow morning from 10 AM, just slightly before Spanish time, 9 AM UK time. Tune in for full action of day 2 of the RugbySpy Ibiza 10s.